The key question here, each member will have 5 minutes to deliberate. And this time around, I will be slightly pushing, and I want you to be as crunchy as much as possible because we are fast, beyond our original time. So, it's a leadership dialogue. The key question here is achieving a sustainable and inclusive recovery from coronavirus disease, the COVID-19 pandemic. What do you think would be our primary actions as a country to pursue an inclusive approach as a country to ensure that our recovery is visible and is more impactful? Now, I would like to start with the elder on the table, Dr. Suma. He was looking to see if he's the older one.
Good morning. You already heard my name. I was born in Liberia. Went to the state for 40 years. I got back here. The way I left Liberia is the way I met it. Something is fundamentally and cognitive wrong with our nation. And if we have to push ahead, we must look to higher education in this country. The conservations and health have to respond to disease that we are talking about today. Is not strange to our forefathers. Conservation and the protection of the environment started with our old folks. Something happened in this country. The destructions of our culture, especially the city and the poorer, what you call society, but I call it colleges and university. There were preservation, oracles, mountains, groves, in which we had medicine, herbs of all kinds. At that time, 99% of Liberia were covered with forest. Today, we have about 40%. But we cannot even produce any urban medicine. There is no curriculum relevant to conduct research of our forests, to produce the type of medicine and food that we need to protect our people. So we need curriculum of relevance in Liberia. We need institutions that will have their own niche. All the colleges and universities in Liberia cannot offer degree in businesses, in sociology alone. At my college, I believe, the first college in the Republic of Liberia to offer a Bachelor of Science degree in disaster management, in climate change, environmental science, occupational safety and health, and agro-business where Liberia will be able to produce her own onions, pepper, tomato, juices from citrus, pineapple, pawpaw, and you name them. We have 40% of the Upper Guinean forest, but Liberia is getting orange juice from Dubai. I don't know how we're managing it. Therefore, there is a need to work with our foreign partners if they are listening to us. I helped to establish the engineering department in Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University. We have more than 18 American and foreign universities in the country, or in our country. How many Solich Institute, American University, or you name them that we have in Liberia? I want to make a bold proposal to the president of this nation and the authority, and to the EPA director too, my friend from Stockholm High School. If you are traveling, your carriers company presidents with you guys. While you are negotiating, will be engaging other universities and colleges. We call that low-hanging fruit. There is no nation in the world will survive without educated people and curriculum that's relevant to conduct research. All these things that we are talking. Call me or show me one university in Liberia that is capable of conducting research. Zero. Do you know that our university was the first on the continent of Africa? Do you know that? Our airport was the first. People came to Liberia to buy food and medicine. We need to change. We got to drastically change. So let me propose a few things here. Culture-driven programs. And I want to say, Ms. Obama will matter. Thank you very much, Pastor Sister. Culture-driven program. You know, I have a radio show since the Ebola came. We have almost all the vernacular languages in our program. We explain to them the type of food to eat. You know, people run from things like backgammon, what I call bread. I know some of you don't understand Basa here, all around the world. Bread nuts, bamboo coolers. There are so many organs, medicines in Liberia that we can produce, and they are not there. Land grabbing is another one that destroy our oracles and the post colleges and groves. We gave, I don't know who idea was it, with the community land issue. The people remain in the town and do they get the land, so they just go there and cut down all the trees. They call it wawa, the cotton tree gone. Those things should be okay. So I just want to stop here. I know the hand is like this. That the country can do better through education and otherwise.
Investment in education, higher education, investment in Liberian traditional education, providing higher institution of learning platforms to be able to network internationally, facilitating research. These are key points that you raised. Thank you so much, Dr. Soma. Thank you so much. We'll have our next panelist is we will have Madam Jimseka Sita, who will go hard at it. Our response, recovery towards COVID-19. How do we, as a country, get on the right path, accelerate our actions to achieve key goals? 5 minutes.
Good morning again. I'm Jimseka Sita. To achieve a sustainable and inclusive recovery from COVID-19 pandemic, look at the impacts of COVID-19, and I just summarize few recommendations from the public health standpoint. So we have a sustainable development cover the social, the environmental, the economical aspects to sustain life on Earth. So to sustain life on Earth, we have a lot to do as Liberians. We have a lot to do when it comes to our population. How do we interact with them? What do we do to achieve a sustainable and inclusive recovery from the coronavirus disease? So I have key points here, the recommendations that affected the health systems, that affected the education sector, the agriculture, and the economic sector. So we have a lot more to do as Liberians to achieve this. So national government assisted by external partners need to develop and implement strategies to make their health system strong and resilient. A weak health system exposes the country's health system vulnerabilities. We all know from the EBV virus, Liberia was highly hit, and from that standpoint, we came out with a disaster management agency to have one From there, it gave birth to also the National Public Health Institute of Liberia. I was privileged to work with the National Disaster Management Agency. There were 60 persons from Liberia that went to Accra at Kofi Annan that were trained to respond to disaster. And we had a lot of coordination. We have all MACs, ministry agencies and commissions across Liberia. We have people from all sectors that were on board, and we were trained to respond to disaster. Based on that, I decided to shift my career. I decided to go into the public health to render assistance to humanitarian needs to help our country to respond to the needs of the population. So some recommendations from the public health standpoint, for Liberia to achieve this, we should engage in specialized programs, get the relevant human and health authorities involved. If we don't have specialized people in our country, we'll continue to do the same thing over and over and again. Our doctor just said it, we need higher education. And I tell you, if you earn a C, honestly, it's going to take you a long way. But if you just go nowadays, when people will push you congratulations, to hear the congratulations is good. But how hard have you worked for it? I told my students at the University of Liberia, the value of fact you come to class, you have C. So if you develop your effort, at the end of the semester, you have B based on my evaluation. And there is nothing that compromising it. So we have to. So we have environmentalists, health professionals, disaster experts, public health specialists, veterinarian, epidemiologists, and all of these people, they are enshrined in the One Health sector. The One Health program involves the environment, the animals, and we humans. It's a multidisciplinary field of study. So you have people from all backgrounds involved in this. So then we have policymakers and social groups that work together to ensure this One Health policy. We should be able to identify key stakeholders. Key stakeholders, when I say key stakeholders, people that are relevant to our topic. Today, I'm proud of EPA. They have their executive director here. There is no way you'll be discussing climate change and your mind will not run to EPA. They put their bus in the road, so when there is anything that's coming up for Liberia, they'll be able to identify the relevant people to go and push our platforms. So if you find people misplaced, they will be able to respond to the needs of our country. Then we should have proactive response groups in terms of outbreak. We should have pre-positioned medical supplies, food and non-food items before our donors or WHO comes in. We should have good human capacity. We should build that. We should enhance our health system support. We should invest in human resource capacity building to avert future and new disease outbreak. In this, we can achieve a healthy nation.
Thank you so much. The most important thing that I took from her was adopting an approach of One Health approach that creates a balance between human, zoonotic diseases and the environment. One Health approach is a globalized thing now, and every major donor is investing in it. A tripartite approach to balancing our time on Earth. Thank you so much, Jimsetta. I'm always afraid when a woman is educated and a woman has realized that what she was studying for is not what she really wants. That is what she really wants. So we give her a chance. She will not finish talking today. Thank you so much, my dear. Mr. Bashu, thank you so much. From the financial perspective, our response, economic recovery towards COVID-19 and the impact it has had on our entire environment, natural resource management, the economics, the social aspect. From your perspective as an economist, as someone who works at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, what are those primary actions? What are your views? You have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. When I received the invitation to serve on this panel, the question that came to mind is this meeting an exercise to fulfill, just for fulfilling it, or for us to critically sit and reflect on how we can right the wrongs in our societies? Against this backdrop, I have few things. In order to achieve sustainable and inclusive development after COVID, there are 3 things I wish to focus on. 1, we must, as a government, increase our investment in the health and social protection sectors. Increasing investment in our health sector will provide the requisite health services and make our health sector to be resilient to combat any future disease outbreak. In line of the social protection sector, as challenging as it may be, given the stagnated resources, declining donor contributions, as well as the competing priorities that government continue to face, it is still important and critical to form part of any comprehensive strategy that will seek to address the quality of our environment, because the benefit far outweighs the cost. Poverty has an inverse relationship to the quality of the environment. As people are poor, they engage in unsustainable environmental economic activities for survival. In order to address that, we have to put money in their pockets. And it will go a long way in addressing the problem of the environment. The second thing we need to do is to support policies that seek to achieve near zero emission economy in Liberia. We need to invest in energy efficient sources such as solar. We need to invest in climate smart agriculture with focus on value addition. We also need to invest in massive reforestation. As we see around, our forests are being, explored, and there is no reforestation going on. So when I came in, I heard Prof. Tape say we have 40% of the remaining Guinea forest. I've heard this for the last 7 years. Are we saying that we are not engaging in logging company? Are we not farming? Are we not cultivating our forests? Like the Prof said, we need to do research to know exactly what is our forest stock. The other thing is that we need to develop a critical mass of youth that will think not by greed, but by a sense of servanthood, to take on the stairs of leadership when we are no longer around, so that they can formulate and coordinate those policies that will help to ensure that Liberia get a healthy environment that will benefit us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bachu. Those are strong points that you've made. And they say a hymn to a wise is quite sufficient. Because we are fast spent, we have somebody from the ambassador from the Swedish government wants to provide special remarks. So please listen and call him all your attention. Yes. Hello, sir.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Is it okay if I make my statement now?
Yes, please. We've been waiting for you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all participating in the consultation. Greetings from the Swedish Embassy. We were planning to join you, but we had some transport challenges, so that's why we need to participate in this way instead. But I want to send my strongest gratitude for all participating, and that Sweden will regard this as a very important consultation. I want to come back to that. But first of all, I want to emphasize that I'm in Monrovia, we're in Buchanan. Sweden and Liberia are far from each other geographically, but we are very close as partners. And as you know, we meet during a time when we have disaster ongoing in Europe, with the Russian invasion of Ukraine, democratic country, and we have a war ongoing with more than 10 million now refugees in Europe. And I know by myself from contact with my family that Ukrainian refugees are coming to Sweden in large numbers. And we also know that this invasion by Russia and this war, it affects all of us, also Liberia, with an increased cost for fuel and also for other consumer articles. So it shows that we are really together. That it's one planet, it's one world, and what we do affects all of us. And there I'm so happy to see that Liberia is very strong on the principle stand against the Russian invasion, and it shows that we are partners towards peace and against war. So I want to thank Liberia's stand. But then, if I may then say that we are very, very grateful of you discussing our common challenges now. We launched the Stockholm+50 consultations a couple of weeks ago. We had the Swedish State Secretary visiting Liberia to launch this, and it's really to emphasize that your voice counts. Your voice is important for a healthy planet. And as you might know already, that the Stockholm+50 is to somewhat commemorate the first ever UN environmental meeting, which was held in Stockholm 50 years ago. And that's why we want to assemble again to discuss what has been achieved, but even more, how to implement the agreements we have made collectively, globally, to avoid global warming, to limit climate change, and to make all efforts for a healthy planet. And as I said, your voice is key in this regard, and we need to involve society. And as you might know, Sweden has a feminist government, a feminist foreign policy. I am a feminist because I believe that we need to make all efforts to really implement the basic fundamental logic that men and women are equal, and we should have the same opportunities for resource, for education, but also to give our voice. And I think the voice from Liberian youth, women, girls, boys, and men are key to enable sustainable change in Liberia and elsewhere. And therefore, once again, we believe that the discussion in Buchanan today is important as an input to this Stockholm conference. I believe that it's important to highlight the enormous resources Liberia has in its forest and in its ocean. You are protectors of these global goods, common goods for for a healthy planet. And we need to find solutions where these resources can be protected at the same time as Liberia can continue to develop and prosper. And there your voice is key to find the practical setups on how to improve agriculture, production, but at the same time protect the forest and the ocean. And I will not hold a long speech, I will soon end, but I wanted to raise one thing which we are all seeing. A little more than a couple of weeks ago, Liberia signed a global resolution to make efforts to end the use of single-use plastics. And we know by experience from Sweden and Liberia that plastics are useful in all kinds of regards, but it also has hazards for the environment. And we know that one example is, for example, that it ends up in the ocean which is so close to Liberia and which has so rich resources. So we are very happy to see the signature of Liberia on the ban of single-use plastics. I think it would be very valuable to learn from you how this ban can be implemented and at the same time enable people to have access to clean water, to healthy food, and what are the alternatives? And your suggestions in that regard is of course key. And the commitment from us is that we will definitely listen to your voices. We will listen to your ideas. And Sweden is a committed partner to Liberia. We have had contact for decades, and we aim to continue our partnership, not least when it comes to environment and climate change for a healthy planet. So by that, I want to say thank you once again. Sorry to not be able to join you in person, but we are definitely looking forward to learn about your consultations today, and we wish you very useful, frank, open discussions by all participating. Thank you very much, and good luck with your discussions.
Thank you so much. We are appreciative to the support of the Swedish government for facilitating this conversation across Liberia. And the ED will be making a special response.
Ambassador, good morning, and thank you very much for this statement. We remain grateful to the governor of Sweden for the interventions they keep making in this country, even during our difficult periods. So I can safely say that on behalf of the president and the government and all of our people, want to say thank you for the support. We appreciate the assistance here today with this dialogue, and I would like to just pick on one of the things that you raised. Yes, it's correct. We have been discussing this issue of single-use plastic waste and the possibility of banning it. The harm of single-use plastic waste and what benefit it is to them if they are banned and what the substitution will be. Two, the economic players involved in this area must be educated. Their awareness must cover them also mainly so, and give them time over which a time-bound plan will be put in place so that by the time, say a year, 2, 3 from now, there will be no longer single-use plastic waste. And so this is something that we are determined to do. We've already signed it. We started discussing the formulation of a plan, a time-bound plan. And please don't be surprised when we approach our major partners like yourselves to see what assistance I'm sure you can help us in that direction. But this is something that we are determined to do, because not only because the international community has signed on to that, but because we as a member of the international community, and particularly a major member in the whole climate change regime, we think it is important for us to do that. It's good for our economy, it's good for our people, and it's good for climate change and the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So, Ambassador, we will be transitioning back to our panelists. We are back to base. Our response to climate change, not climate change, but COVID-19. Mr. Bashu has clearly articulated the economic recovery pathway for us. So, I'm coming to you. I want to get you Madam Lloyd, or her representative. As you are representing the Mano River Union Youth Parliament, we recognize that from especially us that stay in the Upper Guinea Forest Ecosystem Basin. So, from your perspective, what do you think are our primary actions to respond to COVID-19 and moving forward? So, you have 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator, and thank you for all of those who have organized this unique dialogue or forum. The name is Madie P. Rami, and I'm representing the senior parliamentarian of the Mano River Youth Parliament, Pastor Chapter. Okay, on the topic, achieving a sustainable and inclusive recovery from COVID pandemic. First, before I can go further, let me just make it known to everyone in here that in achieving a sustainable and recovery from COVID-19, it requires all of us in here collective efforts to have it done. Because according to the World Health Organization, as of March 2002, there are recorded cases of 7,397 cases of coronavirus, and additional 294 deaths of coronavirus since the epidemic. So, according to World Bank, macro poverty outlook of June 2020 COVID-19 increased extreme poverty in Liberia. See the death rate from WHO, it shows that and there are a lot of losses from us because 294 people, they have already died and there are reduction in our population. So according to World Health concerning our economic, COVID-19 increased extreme poverty in Liberia such that proportion of people surviving on $1.90 US per day or less, it rose from 44.4% in 2019 to 46.3% in 2020. COVID-19 is having a devastating impact on our societies in the world at large. In Liberia, children without access to electricity and internet were unable to continue their education during COVID lockdown, while people with wealthier families had access to more resources for home learning. When business activities declined, workers who were laid off and didn't have adequate saving nor employment insurance benefits suffer the most. COVID-19 has been more than just a healthcare crisis. It is a human, economic, and social crisis which created greater hardship for the poor and the vulnerable in our country, Liberia, and globally. It is time to consider strategies. We that have called this dialogue, our international partners and all of us in here, it is time to consider strategies that will ensure that it is time that will ensure economic growth and inclusive, creating job opportunities and for all. So there's a saying that says, our focus should match the skills of our problem. So key priorities should be focused on these recommendations in order to have a sustainable inclusion from COVID-19 pandemic. So these are the few recommendations that I got from my own different research. And so one, normalizing and maximizing all domestic and international sources of financing. To consider the effect of domestic recovery measure or global sustainable development. Two, community and youth leaders and associations in the private sector should have a key role to play in supporting national and local development. That is to ensure that different voices are heard and work with in all relevant actors to enable us achieve our goal. Three, strengthen the participation of women in other vulnerable groups such as the elderly, people with disability, and in decision-making process in policy, emergency and response and security sector. So, in having people with disability, having the vulnerables, the one we consider as so-called and what have you, and also having the elderly people into this essential decision-making, it will also help us achieve our different goals that we hope to achieve. So, pause.
Start clapping. If you don't clap, then you have a problem. Because she was articulate, very articulate. These are the reasons why you want to have females in the parliament, especially regional. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ambassador is really represented in here. Thank you so much. So, sir, Mr. Ford, we come to you. Our response towards COVID-19 to put Liberia on the path towards a healthy planet, the opportunities, and for us to do that responsibly. What are your views?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me firstly appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to share this platform with one of my best professors, Dr. Soma. It's not a right, it's a privilege. It's challenging when you give a particular topic to more than 4 persons to have a discussion and you outline on what you want to speak on and you become the last.
You read here your teacher, so, you read here your professor, so you were sure to read you have to read. Continue. You protect them. We listen. We will be quiet and we will listen to him, especially when the professor is looking at
him. We as young people, we are always complaining and giving us the opportunity to serve, right? So it's also obligated upon us to make change. And when I first looked at this topic and I decided to do research, all of what I wrote on I noticed has been touched, but I'm going to come in a different dimension. When I first went through this, I decided to outline a few different things, most especially when it comes to the health sector, the education, and that of the human capacity. Sometimes I sat there and I listened to the brother from the Emmanuel Union when he spoke saying Liberia, we have probably done nothing. And it comes to me, I accepted that because we had, you see, the COVID-19 took us by surprise. It has been an extemporaneous crisis in Liberia, most especially for 2014 when we had our first Ebola case and what happens in those experiences we had. We did not learn from that. We also fell into another situation. And what got me more annoyed was that to find university students demonstrating or not using the import that was introduced at the higher institution of learning wasn't because we did not want to do it, was because we did not have the knowledge to it. And I want to know why up to then government or other civil society organizations or partners has not yet invested in improving the digital access. It's becoming more challenging. COVID-19 was a very bad situation we experienced that our children did not even have the opportunity to go to school and was not even, and that was the first time they were ever introduced to e-learning. When you come around Liberia, you don't even find an e-library. It's a very serious challenge. So I think we need to see reason on improving the digital access. And then mostly the health sector, we come to rebuilding the health system. And it has been a problem for us, Liberians, mostly the issue of taking the coronavirus vaccine. It was a serious problem. And I think we need to rebuild the health sector to see that the coronavirus vaccine can be built globally and make sure that 45% of every country's population be vaccinated. The issue of poverty has been a serious one. Taking consideration of the sector, Africa, Liberia as a whole, where you understand that the head of the home most often becomes the man. What happens if he dies from coronavirus COVID? You notice that our family go back to square zero. All right? They go back to square zero. And as part of the SGDV, the Sustainable Development Goal, rather, you understand that it says no poverty. And the issue of eradicating poverty should be an access. And lastly, I don't want to keep it boring, is because I think so much our donors also need to help developing countries in supporting.
You gotta relax. Your prof is happy with you. So at this point in time, we'll say a big thank you to the panel.